All right, here we go. We're going into the CNN stats, and boy, I really like this guy that they have on stats in CNN. One of the last actually good people in there.
What do you think?
Yeah, what are we seeing?
Let's
Donald
see.
Trump being underwater, Democrats saying, oh, this guarantees us we're going to fly high in the midterms. Let me tell you, this guarantees you nothing, because at this particular point, the Democrats are the New Orleans.
Bruh. Oh, the economy. Oh. Wow, who knew enforcing borders would actually make people like you? Who fucking knew?
Saints of political parties. What are we talking about? Trust the Dems or GOP more on the economy? Who leads on the economy? Republicans by 7. Immigration, Republicans by 13. How about crime? A big issue for Donald Trump and the Republicans. Look at that. Lead by 22 points. So the bottom line is this. At this particular point, the ball may be on the ground, but the Democrats have not picked up the ball and running with it. If anything, at this particular point, it's the Republicans who are running with the ball on the top issues, the economy, immigration, and crime.
Give some context on this. Compare this when Republicans last took the House.
Yeah, let's compare it back to 2022. I think this kind of gives away the game right here. Okay, the GOP is more trusted than the Dems on the economy. It was 12 points in 2022. Slight decline in that lead, but still 7 points. How about immigration? It was Republicans by 3 back in 2022. Look at this. The Republican lead's actually gone up by 10 points. What are you doing, Democrats? My goodness gracious.
Oh, this guy is great.
The Republicans were up by 13, and now they're up by 22. The lead, again, expanding by nearly double digits. So whatever Democrats are doing, it ain't working, Kate. It ain't working. Republicans have the lead on all 3 issues.
What's the reason that you are finding so far that's driving this?
Yeah.
Bro, well, it's quite simple. Democrats want to protect illegal immigrants, want to give them jobs, want to feed them, want to give them luxury hotels instead of their own citizens. Democrats use tax money instead of for their own people, for them. Then, when it comes to immigration enforcement, what if the illegal immigrant does something terrible? Well, they just release them back into society, doing something terrible again. I guess it's not, bro, it's not that complicated. They fucking failures, every single one of them. Except John Fetterman. He cool.
I mean, look, it's all about the center of the electorate, right? You win with independents, you win overall. And what do we see right here among independents? Republicans still have a point lead on the economy. They got a 10-point lead on immigration. They got a 21-point lead on crime. The bottom line is when you look at these numbers, Democrats should call their offices because at this particular point, even if Republicans, or even if the public doesn't like what Donald Trump is doing, they ain't necessarily liking what Democrats are doing. And it ain't just a referendum on one party. You actually have to go out and beat that party at this particular point. Democrats are not able to beat Republicans. They still
and again, this isn't as Donald Trump came into office. These are numbers from this month.
These are numbers from September of 2025.
Bruh, see? Oh, that girl was trying to deflect. Oh, dude, I love this guy. Man, you better keep your job, man, because I bet you're pissing everybody off every single time you do the statistics like that. Man, God bless this guy.
We still find that the Republicans leading on all 3 of these issues. And, of course, this economy will be the key. If Democrats are going to win, they're going to have to likely win on the economy. At this particular point among independents, you see that.
Bro, there ain't no way they winning on the economy. Bro, they tried to force everyone to get electric vehicles. Like, by the time, like, what was it, 2026? And by that time, no poor person could afford to buy an electric vehicle, and the grid wasn't even ready for that shit. Hell no. That's the last thing you guys tried to do.
1-point lead for Republicans, and overall, at least according to the Washington Post, they hold a 7-point lead on the economy overall as well.
Yep, I agree. And once they get, and everyone with $150,000 or less, to like not pay like any taxes, dude, Republicans are gonna go up by at least 50 points in the economy. Like Democrats are gonna be like, oh, I hate the Republicans, but there's more money in my wallet. That's what they're gonna say. That's what they're gonna start saying, unless they're absolute retards. And there's this. Look at that. Terrible. Yeah, wanting the president to fucking die. I don't know who these guys are, but we gotta investigate this. If this isn't in America, then hell yeah, Chicago, Illinois, Yeah, I take that as a FBI threat. They should definitely be looked at. Ain't no way glorifying the fucking president's death right after Charlie Kirk died too. Ain't no fucking way.
This U.S. aid thing that's going on, Mike Benz has
Yep.
been on that like a pit bull, and I've been following him on X, and he's going to come back on here and kind of explain everything. But he explained it the last time he was here, and I don't think I really grasped it until Elon's six wizards. He brought in some young wizards to go in there and go over the books, and they are just finding crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's great, and it's so interesting. I was listening to a left-wing podcast today. I like to mix it up. I listen to all kinds of different stuff, and it was like I was listening to a different world. Like, they weren't even talking about all of this corruption and all this obvious buying of.
They are gaslighting their fans to oblivion. Bro, it's all about keeping you in the chains. It's all about keeping you indoctrinated. It's all about lying to you every single step of the fucking way. Bro, that's what these Hassan Pikers, that's what these Destinies, that's what these CNNs, that's what these NSNBCs do. Gaslight you every fucking time.
Of influence. Instead, they were talking about aid overseas and how people are going to starve. And like,
it's mind-boggling. And there's also, I have to say, I'm upset at the general pattern of a failure to recognize how right those of us who hypothesized that there was a racket that had overtaken our entire governance structure, we turn out to be absolutely right about this, and no one's going to mention it. That's mind-blowing.
It's very strange.
Exactly. It's because these guys, man, these things fill up their pockets, so they're not paid to talk about it. They're paid to ignore it. And they're instead going to focus on every fucking other thing. They're not going to focus on the corruption because they are the corruption. This is what makes them money more than Congress ever will. So to them, anytime they get a housing department in the middle of fucking nowhere that they never create, that's $250 million extra for all their weird causes and weird wallet stuff. Every single one needs to be investigated and literally put in jail for literal fraud, defrauding the fucking taxpayers from the money that they were told was going to go to a certain issue.
Strange that the media is ignoring it, especially the left-wing media. It's just too big of a win for the right, and so they're just ignoring it. And then they're just highlighting the good things that USA did, which I'm sure it probably did. Probably had to do some good things to like at least justify its existence.
As a cover story, I'm not even sure. Maybe it doesn't change anything. Obviously, this was a mechanism used to funnel money to all sorts of things that we didn't vote on, that don't make sense in light of our constitutional structure. And I obviously have concerns like everybody else about where this train takes us, but seeing that structure broken up it's a huge relief.
They gave $27 million to the George Soros Prosecutor Fund.
Yep. George Soros. That is a name that will appear over and over and over and over again. Every fucking time. For any of you who don't know, George Soros is basically the final boss of the Democrats. Every single thing the Democrats have done recently, you're going to see his name attached to something. Whether it's CNN, MSNBC, whether it's Hillary, whether it's Obama, whether it's like random progressive DAs, whether it's like funding the House, the Senate, everything. George Soros has his hands on all that shit. And it's absolute bullshit that he could get away with all this stuff until now. But now we're exposing it, and he's he crazy. He crazy. He has his hands in everything.
So our own government is funding this left-wing lunatic, is hiring the most insane prosecutors who are letting people out of jail who commit violent crimes.
And that's...
Yep. Oh, and just so you guys know, I'm going to show you guys a little statistic. Let's go. No, not X. Let's go to Grok. Here it is. 75 DAs George Soros has funded. Now we know this is the man where everything is coming out of. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. Prosecutors represent jurisdictions that covering more than 70 million Americans. About 1 in 5 people in the U.S. oversee roughly 40% of the nation's murders. So 40% of all these people are under his funding. Let me show you even scarier. Let me show you Congress. Bro, like all this shit. Everything. But literally everything ties to him. Every single thing. Not only that, but the news agencies are also related to him. Let me show you that too, which is even scarier. Okay, here we go. So, do you see anything at all very odd about all of these? Democrat, 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 Democrat. Well, anyways, it's scary because this guy, I'm gonna make a whole ass video about him next, but dude, I'm glad that more people know about this guy's name because there's a lot to talk about him, but I'll get to that later.
That's exactly how this racket worked, is that the ability to tax the American public and then effectively get us to pay for being propagandized, for being surveilled. That's the game. And I don't know what era we currently live in. Obviously, there's a lot that's confusing about what the Trump administration is up to, but I don't think any reasonable person could be unhappy that we are exiting that era.
I'm going to read off some of the things that this guy, Kanakota the Great, on Twitter listed. And this is off the Jesse Water Show. USAID, $20 million for Iraqi Sesame Street. $2 million for Moroccan pottery classes, $11 million to tell Vietnam to stop burning trash, $27 million to give gift bags to illegals. $27 million. $330 million to help Afghanis grow crops. Like crops. I wonder what those crops are. What
do people in Afghanistan do? Oh, crops. I think you mean fucking like drugs or guns.
Their biggest crop, Brett?
It's going to be the poppy seeds for bagels, I'm thinking.
Yep.
$200 million on an unused Afghani dam, $250 million on an unused Afghani road.
Yep.
This is wild.
Yep.
I mean, some of this stuff is really, really crazy.
Well, yes, and, USAID is, of course, riddled through whatever international madness it is that caused us to open our southern border and facilitate an invasion through the Darien Gap. So, seeing that structure laid bare is... It almost feels like it can't be real. Like it can't
crazy.
Have been this close to the surface, and yet here we are.
They were spending, is this number correct? I think the number that I read was $600 million every 2 months to ship in illegals.
Sounds right. I don't know the number offhand, but
what the fuck?
Well, you have to realize that.
Yeah, because when you see that, you're like, these guys are doing absolutely nothing American. This is not even like America first. This is everyone else sucks America fucking dry, and you're just supposed to deal with it and accept it. Well, they tell you you're racist, you're sexist, you're xenophobic, you're all these little words that they use 99% of the time because they don't have a fucking argument in order to tell you, oh, stay on our plantation.
Basically, we had a shadow apparatus functioning, and it involves all kinds of things. It involves payoffs to people who didn't deserve them. It involves contracting to entities that were necessary to get the work done. So I don't think we can properly understand what these numbers mean and what they're actually being used for, but it was a racket.
Well, we were always wondering, like, why is our debt so high? Why is the national debt so high? Like, why is our deficit so insane? Well, this is it.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons. They've been doing this shit for God knows how many years. And we need to prosecute every single last one of them who literally took advantage of the taxpayer, because when it comes to taxes, guess what? You're forced to. It's not a charity donation. You're forced to. You're obligated to. You'll be arrested if you don't. It's an obligation, therefore the government should be obligated to keep track of everyone who misuses it, to keep public interest aligned with the taxes. Now here's this last one real quick. But I'm going to show you this, and I agree with him fully. There was a point in time when the Democrats and Republicans were both patriotic and both actually cared about what this fucking country is happening. But then when you look now, Donald Trump was a Democrat until 2012. RFK was a Democrat until 2024. Elon Musk was a Democrat until 2022. Like, these guys were beloved by the Democratic Party. Especially Elon. Electric vehicles, solar panels, sending things to the moon. People loved all that stuff and ate it up. But the moment they became red, everyone turned on them, everyone hated them, everyone demonized them. That says something. That fucking says something. But yeah, I'm glad all these guys are simultaneously here because they're exposing a lot of bullshit that's been happening behind the government. Because Joe Rogan has pretty much the most popular podcast ever. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, and he bought Twitter. And then Donald Trump is the fucking president right now. So we have just so much stuff that doesn't make sense. Hell, I remember, at least in Bill Clinton's term, at least he was a good president. But then when you get to Obama, you get to this sketchy point where it seems the in-between point between Bill Clinton and everything that Joe Biden does. Which is weird, sketchy stuff hidden behind a few things that help America. Like, for example, starting Antifa, starting Black Lives Matter, basically destroying the black community, increasing racial tensions. All that bullshit was done under Obama. But at the same time, he deported 3.1 illegals, and he actually cared about law and order. Like, there was so much weird bullshit that Obama was on. It was all because they got so progressive. Eventually, a lot of Obama's policies don't even seem like they come from him anymore. And he's supporting these people. The people that allowed 4.5 million people in. And Obama's supporting them all the way through. Another one of George Soros's guys.
The Democratic Party that I know went so far left that people like myself couldn't remain identified as a Democrat.
Exactly.
And you can't tell people that you're wrong if you don't believe like I do. That you spend more time worrying about people that are able-bodied, capable people of working that don't work than you do those who will work. This is the perception that came, but then telling them, hey, if you don't believe like me, if you're not in this line of theology, ideology, then you're absolutely wrong. That's not who.
Except they don't say wrong. They say evil, Nazi, and they want you killed.
We are. The pursuit of happiness, that's my responsibility. Taking an oath of an office to defend and protect the Constitution, I'm going to do that. The Democratic Party.
Exactly. Respectable. And there's still respectable people in your party that are being shat on by the overly progressive people to the point it's disgusting. So progressive, they want communism and socialism. So progressive, they want radical extremists. So progressive, they support every form of terrorism that helps their side. So progressive, they suppress every single news story that ever is supposed to come out that shows how bad these cities really are. But yeah, man, the Democrats are on some shit, and every old member of it, like, at this point, leave to the Republicans. Your party is radicalized. Leave, join the Republicans, fix America. Then we can fix, like, what the fuck happened in that party. Because that party is now an infestation, circle jerking each other on how progressive they are. None of their values make sense. Nothing is consistent. And guess what?
I know.
There's no logic behind it.